The value of this building has to do with the story it tells and the story that it continues to tell. The way that it has sat on the landscape since 1939, built at a time when the Philippines was under a foreign power. And now, today, a building that reflects our emergence as a republic that aspires to be a strong member of the world community. I'm Dominic Galicia. I'm the architect of the National Museum of Natural History on Rizal Park, which was the conversion of a government building, a neoclassical building built in 1939 by Antonio Toledo. The museum building is it's a five-sided pentagon of different lengths of side. Four of the sides are straight, generally straight lines. One of the sides is curved. This is the main facade facing Agrifina Circle. When you walk along a straight line towards a curve, there's an interesting sensation, an interesting dynamic of the view changing as you approach it. So it is that dynamic that brought the very first idea for this project, which was the domed roof. The domed roof, which, as we see today, is carried by this structure, all composing the Tree of Life. How we were going to carry this dome had to be the heart of the story of this project. And the heart of the story had to do with nature and our trying to understand nature. And so the very first idea here was to actually have a grove of trees or columns carrying that dome. And Tina edited the idea into one. She said, why have a grove when you can have one? Just have one tree.
My name is Tina Periquet, and I worked with the team of Dominic Galicia to do the interior architecture. There are several things to think about when you're doing space planning of an old building, and in this case, adaptive reuse. The original program of this building was to serve as a government office. So it was divided into very regular spaces, and there was only one main space, what we call Marble Hall. When we first walked into the space, what greeted us was a hall that was very, very sadly cut up into a labyrinth of small booths. And so the first thing was to see past all of that into the potentials, the opportunities that the building presented.
The Tree of Life is right at the centroid of this courtyard. This used to be an open courtyard in 1939. What is most compelling is the fact that that strong experience of being at the center is universal. So everyone, young, old, rich, poor, go through this democratizing experience. This existing building, it's not, as I said, it's not only about the stories it tells, but the stories it can tell, and the stories it wants to tell. And I think Ayala Hall expresses that quite well.
The first thing we did when we looked at the plans is try to find out what was it that the architect had originally planned.
When you look from the outside, it was a double height window at that corner facing Taft and Callao. And a double height window suggests a double height space inside. Behind the double height window was 2 floors of offices.
But we thought maybe it was because of some constraint. Maybe he originally had a vision, and we all know what it's like being in the business of design, that you get compromises left and right and you're forced to satisfy pragmatic considerations and compromise your vision. So we thought, what if we complete that vision for him?
And so what we did is we took out those 2 floors and made 1 floor, 1 beautiful space.
Hexagon means something. It's significant to our program because it is what scientists call nature's perfect shape. It's the most efficient geometric shape. All right, so it is actually very significant, and we thought, let's use that. And that's why if you look around you, this hall is patterned using the hexagon. So along the walkways, there are elements that were not part of the original program, such as waiting benches, and we felt very strongly the need for benches for people to be able to rest. All of these are created by the introduction of build-ups designed to conceal ducting, cables, utilities that were needed for the galleries inside. So you're not seeing a lot of what's going on, but you're sitting on it.
I mean, the dome is made of insulated glass and insulated metal. It's computed by the engineers to maintain a temperate climate in this space naturally. What it also does, because of the alternating solid and void light and shadow of the dome, it creates a play on the surfaces of the courtyard.
I pictured people who normally don't set foot in good buildings, ordinary citizens who don't normally have the leisure or the money to enter into a beautiful space. Imagine if they could just walk in and this is theirs, and it's beautiful. The important thing also about its continuing to stand here is that it tells the story, right? It tells the story. And I think that's an important thing about taking an existing building of significance and allowing it to tell its story.